There is something happening at Maples Collegiate tomorrow with a group of students who are excited to get off of Zoom, Loren, and put on a show.
Yeah, every night at 7 o'clock, there's been the musicians around the world taking out their instruments to honor essential workers during this pandemic. And the musicians, as we've seen in different videos, social media shares, they've lined the streets, or they've stood on balconies, or they've visited hospitals.
So tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in front of Maples Collegiate, that's at 1330 Jefferson Avenue, upwards of 50 students from the Maples Collegiate Wind Ensemble will join this global movement for a pop-up concert in honor of essential workers. Chloe Plamondon is the band teacher at Maples Collegiate, and she joins us now live on The Start. Good morning, Chloe.
Hi, good morning.
So Brett mentioned that students are excited to get off of Zoom. Just how excited are they?
I think they're good. Our last rehearsal together was on Zoom. We haven't ever played this song together.
Sorry, Chloe, I'm just going to jump in there.
We had a mute rehearsal
Chloe?
on Zoom where...
Chloe, can you hear us?
We'll deliver instructions.
Hang on a second. We're going to try to sort that out. There's something... did you hear that little blip?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a click there, so I don't know if that just switched to a different sound or feature on her phone or what.
Yeah, so we're wondering if she went to... Can she hear you, Jeff Forte? Oh, boy. Okay. So we're having a technical issue with Chloe where something happened with her phone. So on top of the technical difficulties that we deal with not working out of the same room, now we're having a situation with our phone. So Jeff Forte is going to try to reconnect with her. So while we deal with that, wind ensemble, Loren, was it your sister who played a woodwind?
Well done with the memory. Yes, she played the oboe, which is delightful if you know what you're doing. If you're 12 years old and learning, if you're learning any instrument, let's be frank, it can be a screeching sort of bird type dying sound that you're not necessarily loving. But I love a good wind ensemble. I've never been able to play any of those, but that's a great instrument. So
well, let's try Chloe again. Chloe, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, we're not entirely sure what happened there. It sounded like you switched to speakerphone, and then we weren't able to speak to you. So we'll try this again.
Sure.
We were just asking you how excited the students were to get off of Zoom.
Yeah, I think they're really excited to get off of Zoom. I know our last rehearsal together, we do it on Zoom. So it's as if I'm delivering a lesson to a computer screen of kids in little boxes with instruments in their hands, but they're muted and I'm just watching and hoping that they're getting it right.
That's fascinating. I've got so many questions about this performance tomorrow night, but just before we get there, how is the teaching going over Zoom like that? Because it's hard enough, to get math lessons to go on video, but band and listening for sounds, I can't imagine it all translates properly over a laptop.
No, so we have large classes too. So I'll have about 80 kids sometimes show up into a Zoom class, and it's just impossible to actually play together. So we've been really creative in getting kids to engage in musical activities different than playing together. So they've been practicing solo and reporting back. They've done written assignments. They've done lots of artwork. The Manitoba Band Association has put together some events for them to do that are mostly solo. So it's been we've been really focusing on supplemental activities instead of actually playing together. So this performance that we're doing tomorrow night, I think, is a little bit of a glimmer of normalcy into the students' lives of being able to play together, albeit at a distance.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, so the performance like this are typically done shoulder to shoulder. Chloe, how are you going to work out the spacing?
Maples Collegiate is a huge school, and we've got tons of space, and I'm assuming that it's going to go all the way from one end of the school to the other and then into the parking lot. Altogether, I think there's about 32 students coming up, so a team of custodians and some EAs who are working at Maples and I are going to spend the day marking out spots and measuring out 6 feet. If we can do more apart, we will, but kids will be 6 feet apart and kind of like in a window formation so that no one's blowing into the back of the person behind them. And students they're out of any sort of cleanup duty. I'm going to do all the setting up and taking down, and parents will drop them off in their car. They'll put together their instruments in the car and then stand at their music stand and then head back. So we've really taken a lot of safety precautions seriously in putting together something like this.
I was in the band in junior high, but it was just the band. What's a wind ensemble?
Well, a wind ensemble, I heard you guys talking about the oboe there. A wind ensemble is a concert band, essentially. It's all the same instruments. It has a brass section, a woodwind section, and a percussion section, and it's smaller than a concert band. Typically, a concert band will invite every musician that wants to play, and then the wind ensemble is an auditioned group that's much smaller than our other groups. Our grade, like for example, our grade 9 band runs at about 110 kids, but the wind ensemble is about 50.
I think it's so exciting for the kids to be able to figure out a way to come together without being too close together, Chloe. And on the other hand, provide some entertainment for folks. Music has been missing from so many parts of our lives over the last few months because of cancellations of concerts or other things. And so I'm curious if you have other local musicians around Winnipeg taking part in this movement to entertain through this pandemic.
Actually, I am just jumping on the backs of other band directors in the city who have already started this. So Cynthia Weavers is the band director at Shaftesbury High School, and she started the movement of students playing at 7 o'clock p.m. outside on their driveways to honor essential workers. And she put together all kinds of sheet music for them to play that we've got online. And I know then Dan Steinhilber from Transcona High School, they grabbed it onto, and they've been playing their students outside individually at 7 o'clock. And then a group of professional trumpet players in Winnipeg, they've been playing outside hospitals and now nursing homes. And so, like any good teacher, I'm stealing from excellent teachers I know, and so we're joining in, and this is our take on it.
Chloe, your energy, your enthusiasm for this absolutely radiates over the phone and over the radio waves. I can sense how excited you are. I can only imagine you're as excited as a teacher and inspiring as a teacher. So in this difficult time and in terms of not being able to work with your group of students as you've been used to just tell us for you just this personal challenge of being apart from your students, because I've heard from a number of teachers just how difficult it's been, because they know it's been difficult for their students.
Yeah, that's such a good question, and that's just kind of what breaks my heart the most, is being away from our students. And like I said, we have a lot of kids in the program, and the 80% of them who show up are the kids who, are doing great and they love it. I'm not worried about. And my heart seriously breaks for the 20% or so that we don't hear from. And you wonder how they're doing, and you reach out as much as you can, and you make hundreds of phone calls and text messages a week to try and get in touch with them, and you can't, and it's really, really tough and heartbreaking to think about them. And I know music is such an important part of these students' day. They are such hardworking academics, I would say, in the school, and athletes, and they do so much. And the music class when we're together is an hour and a half or an hour of their day where they put their phones away, their brains can relax a little bit from the intensity or the rigor of their academics, and we can be together and empathize together and feel together, and that's missing, the heart of what happens in school and the joy that comes from being together and playing together. So I think I'm really inspired to do something like this, even if we're 6 to 8 feet apart, we've never practiced together, so it could potentially be a gong show, but I hope not, and it won't, and it doesn't matter. It's just not the point, and we'll be there and we'll be together and we'll play and share that, and hopefully it can bring a little glimmer of joy and peace into their hearts that's been missing from playing in band together.
Chloe Plamondon is the band teacher at Maples Collegiate, joining us live on CJOB. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Once again, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in front of Maples Collegiate at 1330 Jefferson Avenue, upwards of 50 students from the Maples Collegiate Wind Ensemble will be putting up a pop-up concert. 8:47 on 680 CJOB. Phone lines are open at 204.